Dear students, welcome back to the Rajkumar College, Rajkot chemistry class. In this session, we will learn about class 9th chemistry, chapter 1, matter in our surroundings. In my previous two videos, I have explained in detail the first chapter. In this video, we will have a quick look, a quick revision for the whole chapter so that there will be no misconceptions or you can be able to understand the chapter in a better way. Now let us start with the points. We have seen that anything that has mass and occupies space and can be felt by senses is known as matter. Matter exists in mostly three states, that is solid, liquid and gas. If we see the properties of solid, they have definite shape, definite volume, they do not flow, the particles of the solids are closely packed and the solids are incompressible. When we see to the properties of liquids, we see that liquids do not have any definite shape, they have fixed volume, they can flow also. The particles of the liquids are loosely packed and they are little bit of compressible. And if we see the properties of gas, they do not have definite shape, they don't have fixed volume also. They can flow and the particles are too loosely packed and they are highly compressible. In my previous videos also I have explained all the properties in detail, and that is why the liquids and gases are also called the fluids. Now here if we see that the particles of salt or sugar, when dissolved in water, the particles of salt get into the space between the particles of water. That is why we can say that there is huge space between the particles of liquid and an enormous amount of space between the particles of the gas. Now the particles of the solid, liquid and gas vary means they differ in the size and they have space between them also. In this diagram I have tried to explain that the solid, liquid and gas, the particles have the space between them, but in solid the space is very negligible, in liquid there is little bit of space and in gas there is large amount of space between them. Now, if we see the physical nature of the particle, we know that matter is made up of particles and the particles of matter are very small. If we see the characteristics of the particles, means particles, if I am talking, particles means atom, molecules, ions which constitute any matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. Particles of matter are continuously moving. We know that they possess high amount of kinetic energy, about which we will be talking later on. As the temperature rises, the particles move faster and the kinetic energy also increases. Second, the particles of matter have space between them. As we have seen earlier, the particles of solid have less space, very less space. The particles of liquid have little bit of space, comparatively more than solid, and the particles of gas have very large amount of space between them. The particles of matter attract each other. We know that when water flows, one droplet of water attracts the other one, and that is why there is a continuous stream of water. So this indicates that the particles of matter attract each other. When we open the water tap and try to break the stream, when we put our finger in between, they do not break because they have high strong force of attraction between them. So the particles remains together because of force of attraction. So here we have compared the three things. The space between the particles and kinetic energy is minimum in solid, medium in liquid and maximum in gas. Same way the force of attraction is strongest in solid, medium in liquids and weakest in gas. And the movement of particles is minimum in solid, medium in liquid and maximum in gases. As we can see from the diagram, the arrangement of particles in three states of matter. Our body also consists of three states of all the three states of matter. Bones are and teeth are in the solid form, the blood and the water in the liquid form, and the lungs contain the gaseous oxygen and carbon dioxide also. Let us discuss the properties of solid state. As we have discussed in our previous two videos, let us have a quick look of the properties of the characteristics of solid state. They have definite shape, they have distinct boundaries. We can hold a solid object because of the definite boundaries. They have rigidity, means they are rigid, they don't change their shape, and they are incompressible, and they have definite volume. They have given the example also that rubber band is a solid. It can change its shape under force, but when the force is removed, they regain their shape. The solids have fixed and rigid shape. We can compress, very important question from the examination point of view, that we can compress the sponge although it is solid, because sponge contains pores which are filled with air in it. Liquid state. Liquids have fluidity, means they are not rigid, they can flow, they are low compressible, they do not have any definite shape and boundaries, and they take the shape of vessels, and they have definite volume also. Oh. They have the very important property of diffusion. One liquid can diffuse easily into the other liquid. When we put a drop of ink into the water, it gets spread. This process is called diffusion. Same way, the gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere diffuses into the water. And because of this, the aquatic plants and animals which live in water are able to survive. Diffusion is much more in liquids than in solids due to the movement of particles. If we see about the gaseous state, they have fluidity, means they can flow, they are highly compressible, no definite boundaries, no definite shape, and no definite volume. The particles in a gas are free to move in any direction, and they do not have fixed volume also. Pressure of gas is the force applied to the walls of vessel. Here in gaseous state, the pressure plays a very important role. Now let us see how we can change one state of matter into the another one. We know that water exists in all the three states, that is ice, water and water vapor, solid, liquid and gas. Now if we want to change the state of matter, then we can do it in two ways. That is, first one by changing the temperature, and the second one by changing the pressure. When we change the temperature, the particles of the substance starts moving, because for changing the temperature we have to provide heat, and when we provide the heat, the kinetic energy increases. For this, let us see a small video.
Alright guys, what we're looking at here is a simulator that shows us what the particle motion would look like in a cold liquid and in a hot liquid. So here at the cold liquid, we can see that the particles are pretty close together. They're in motion, they're kind of moving and sliding past one another. But they're not moving as quickly as a gas, and they're also not in a fixed shape like a solid would be. So we can move the slider and observe how that will change the motion of the particles. So as we heat this up, we see the molecules start to move faster and they're kind of bumping into each other. But also we can see how the spaces between them are larger. So here in that hot liquid, we can see how as we've increased the temperature or heated the substance, we see an increase in the speed of the particles. And we can see an increase in the spaces between the particles. Now if we cool this liquid down, we'd see a decrease in the speed of the particles, and we see a decrease in the space between them.
So in this video we have seen that as the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of the molecules also increases. Then we have discussed about the melting point and the boiling point. The temperature at which a solid starts converting into liquid is called its melting point, and the temperature at which a liquid starts converting into vapor gaseous state is called its boiling point. There are two types of heats, that is latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat means the hidden energy which is needed to overcome the forces of attraction. Fusion is the process of melting, and vaporization means conversion of liquid to gas. During boiling, the temperature of water does not rise through heat is supplied, because this heat of vaporization is used to convert one form to another one. Now if we see in this diagram, when we want to convert a solid to liquid and liquid to gas, we have to provide the heat. And when we want to convert a gas to liquid and liquid to solid, we have to take out or remove the heat. There is one more process that is called sublimation, in which the solid directly gets converted to vapor and vapors to solid. The best example is the sublimation of ammonium chloride or camphor. We have in the previous studios we have discussed about the conversion of naphthalene balls and camphor. The sublimation process of ammonium chloride we will be studying in the classroom as an experiment. Now let us see what is the effect of pressure. Pressure means we are applying the force on the molecules. In the gaseous state, the molecules are very far from each other. But when we apply the pressure, when we apply the force, they are brought near to each other. When more and more force is applied, then the particles come near to each other. And at the same time, when we decrease the temperature, so gases get converted to the liquid state. By applying the high pressure, the particles of gas can be brought close to each other. The best example is of the dry ice. The solid carbon dioxide, which is known as dry ice, is changed into carbon dioxide gas directly at atmospheric pressure. In this diagram we can see solid, liquid and gas can be converted by different processes. Now evaporation. Evaporation is the process in which the molecules which are present at the surface of the liquid absorbs the energy from the surrounding and gets converted to the gaseous state. Evaporation takes place below the boiling point of a liquid. There are four factors which we have discussed in our previous videos that affect the rate speed of evaporation. The surface area, increase in temperature and wind. All these three factors are directly proportional, means when these three factors increases, the rate of evaporation also increases. But humidity is inversely proportional, means when the humidity increases, the rate of evaporation decreases. We know that evaporation also causes cooling. Evaporation is a surface phenomena in which energy is absorbed from the surrounding. So when the heat energy from the surrounding is absorbed, the surrounding becomes cool. That is why because of the evaporation, cooling effect is generated. The examples are mentioned here. When we put acetone on a hand, it is evaporated by taking the heat from our palm, and our palm feels cool. Same way, we should wear cotton clothes in summer to keep ourselves cool, because cotton is a good absorber of water, and so it absorbs the sweat from our body, and evaporation of sweat results in the cooling of the body. Same way, during the summer season, we sprinkle water on the ground. This water takes the heat from the ground and surrounding to evaporate, and thus makes the surrounding cool. So, after this quick revision, all of you have understood the first chapter very thoroughly. Thank you.